I'm Cari Kelemen, and I have Marcy O'Rourke with me. She is from Washington State. She's got those beautiful trees behind her. Somebody I met on Twitter, just a kindred spirit. How are you today, Marcy?
I'm fine, Cari. I just love talking to you. I can't believe I'm really finally meeting you person to person.
Well, I see you in the YouTube comments a lot. I see you on Twitter a lot, and it is just my privilege and honor today to be talking to you. So, Marcy, you said I have a story. You've got some things you'd like to talk about. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much. The first thing I want to say is how happy I am that we have a model for a first lady. I was a model when I was young, a million years ago, but I was always sort of embarrassed about it. People really like a model, they didn't know what you did, and they would make disparaging comments, and I don't know what they thought, but some people they think you're. But it's very nice that she's a model and people are taking her seriously, and I think that it's important to beauty isn't a bad thing. We all like beauty, and there's all kinds of beauty, and it doesn't mean that everybody has to be, like a model perfect, but we all want to make the best of ourselves, and that's really what it was about. I mean, and it was a crazy job. I mean, I don't think people realize it's really very hard work.
It is. So tell me, where, how did this happen in your life?
Well, I started modeling when I was in college. In those days, it was about $12 an hour when you worked, but my rent was only $40 a month.
Wow.
Back then, so if you could get a couple of jobs every month, you could pay your rent and food, and it was great. And then it just sort of took off. Then I really fell in love with it. I thought, gee, I love fashion. I love all this stuff. And
so you started out on the East Coast, but did you end up on the West Coast? How did that happen?
We did. Well, I married an actor, and yes, I married actor Tom O'Rourke, and he'd been he was from Indiana. He was in the Army. He was a paratrooper, and he got out of the Army and didn't know what to do with himself. So, and everybody said to him, he was such a great storyteller. He's passed away now, Tom.
Sorry.
But so we met on an audition, and started dating, and I could see he had a lot of potential. He didn't, I had sort of more the commercial side of things because I knew about getting on TV commercials. I'd done a lot of them. I'd been a model for 10 years when I met Tom, so I kind of really knew the business. And he'd been an actor, and actors are they're a little bit of gypsies, They're going around from city to city, and he thought of himself as a character actor, which is, with a mustache, he was sort of man mountain guy. And I said, no, wait a minute, let's get the hair done better. Let's shave the mustache. Let's take a picture of you in a suit. I think you could be a leading man. And, he finally got up. He got on a soap opera. He was on Guiding Light. He played Justin. Yeah, he created the role of Justin Waddler on Guiding Light. And that's how we ended up. Then we ended up going to California.
Yeah. Okay, so talk to me about, you've actually been in the Hollywood scene, and you've noticed some big changes. Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah, I mean, I must say for years we were out there in Hollywood and we never met a single conservative. And I mean, maybe this is terrible to say, but I was furious at conservatives. I thought, here I am on the firing line, putting my life and trying to survive out here and fighting against everything. And there isn't one other person out here with the same values fighting for, I didn't even want, it was just something that, my husband had to take the fact that he was a paratrooper off his resume because if you left that on, you were never going to get a job.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Forget it. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's very, very liberal. But I don't mind liberals being liberal. I mean, I think that's fine. I have a lot of liberal friends. I think liberals are great people. Right. I think they're going through it right now. They're kind of having a little meltdown over this. Mm-hmm. I think, it's to be expected. I'm sure there's bad parts of it. It may get worse. I don't know. But I think they have their point of view. I never expected, people always say, these books, conservatives, right? Why aren't there any conservatives in the liberal movies? Why don't they make conservative movies? I want to say, they do make conservative movies. You're in them. You're the villain.
Yeah.
You're real estate.
Gosh, isn't it true?
Yeah. And so what we need out there is we need people with conservative point of view, with stories like you talk about. We're telling our stories from our point of view and make people laugh at the things that we see that are funny. Because it really, Hollywood is kind of a ship without without a rudder right now. They just keep doing the same old thing, the same old sex and violence, but they have no new ideas. It's all these stereotypes and all the same old liberal themes, liberal good, conservative bad. All right, you can go so far with that, but I mean, let's move on. Let's do something real and fun and, something exciting, something that really says something universal about life.
Do you see any change in the future? Do you see any shifts
No.
now that you don't? And now that we have a president,
I'm looking to people like you, Cari. I'm hoping that's why I'm doing this. It means everything to me. The theater, movies are so powerful, and there's such a good way to bring people into seeing life more truly. And it's your generation. You got to do something.
Well, I do believe in the power of storytelling. I think stories are extremely powerful form of communication because they can get past mental defenses and they can get to your heart, and it can actually make you care about another person's plight or their point of view or these kinds of things. Stories are very, very powerful, and of course the medium of film is a very powerful way to tell a story. So they can create a narrative, they can create a reality for people. If you don't have time to experience everything, a lot of times we put a lot of stock in the experiences of other people, especially if their stories are compelling or well told. And so this can powerfully impact a culture, a generation. You talked about the Vietnam War. How many movies, how many anti-Vietnam War movies have we had that continue to kind of sour the public on the military, on the United States, on our involvement in the world? And so these things get perpetrated and told over and over and over again through the medium of film. So the impact is just enormous on a culture.
It is. It is.
So, there was Andrew Breitbart said that politics is downstream of the culture. And so if we're going to make a difference, we've got to impact the culture. Do you see any headway from conservatives?
No, I wish I did. I really don't. I'm thinking of it's very hard even to find books to read that don't take little shots at you for being a conservative. I find myself reading old books, and I do think we could start there, but it just seems like somebody has to step forward and with some money and some clout and get in there and say, I'm going to make this movie, or we're going to back this and start a studio.
Okay, so you're in Washington State.
Yes.
How is it up there as far as you support our president, you voted for our president? What is it like in Washington State?
It's about half and half here, oddly enough. On the coast, it's very liberal. But I actually went 10 miles away. We had a great Trump rally.
Yes,
which I think
there was a huge one. Yes.
Oh, it was one of the great experiences of my life. I went to it.
Oh, good. How was it? What'd you think?
Oh, it's incredible. I'll never forget it as long as I live. I was lucky enough. I had a friend who told me about it and told me where to park, because the line for the parking would have alone. But I waited online for 3 hours. I stood in front. The people right behind me were two lifelong Democrats who were middle-aged with, grown kids.
Interesting.
Lifelong Democrats, and they loved Trump. And we got to know everything about each other standing on line. And I didn't think of it at the time, but it was a very racially mixed crowd. I didn't realize that everyone was saying Trump was a racist until much later. So I didn't actually think about that. But when I thought back, there was all kinds of people there. And all different ages, everything. Mm-hmm. And the exciting thing was that, of course, they had people chain themselves across the bridge. And this is kind of it's a rural area. They're not that, there's a lot of farms and things. There's not that many roads. So I don't know how he actually did it, what bridge he finally went across. But they stopped their cars. They chained themselves across the bridge so he couldn't get there. So we waited another hour after that. But suddenly, everybody had their phones and they're going, and then somebody said, there he is. He's on the Mailin Road. And apparently they knew that meant that he was, there were no stopping him then. And when he came around that corner, and everybody saw that motorcade with the SUVs, the crowd, it was a singular moment. The people leaped to their feet and cheered. It was because he'd made it against all odds. It was like the metaphor for who Trump is,
Yes.
Against all odds. He made it there. He made it for us. He got to our town. And nobody sat down for like another hour while he
Yeah.
talked. We just stood there and cheered as he spoke. He's incredible. I mean, he's a performer. This is a man who's
Oh, yes.
I was really impressed. And he's very, very relaxed in front of an audience. He tells jokes. He gets people laughing. And just a very personable man. I mean, wow. But I'll never forget that. It was just one of my great memories. That, the Rolling Stones I saw many years ago. And Mick was very
Trump,
young.
Rolling
Good
Stones,
there.
and Trump. That's awesome. So there were lifelong Democrats in line with you?
Yeah, right behind me.
And they were willing to just...
They loved him. They said that to me. They said, "Oh, we've been Democrats all our life, but we love Trump. This guy is great." And they said, "We need him." And this was a husband and wife, and they were, in their 40s or so. So
Right.
a lifelong Democrat is pretty long.
That's pretty long.
I mean, and they were, we spent 3 hours together.
Yes. Yeah, you get to know people in those Trump lines for sure. So they were lifelong Democrats. Did you meet anybody else in the crowd that surprised you? Was there anybody else you came across that was like, "What are you doing here?"
No, I don't think so. I mean, it was this is a very, it's a very diverse area. Mm-hmm. So naturally the crowd was very diverse. I mean, it's all that horrible Democrat word, but I mean, there was everybody there. There were people there that were certainly, that fun people. Let's just put it like that. Lots of very fun people who were not shy and not inhibited about anything, and it seemed to me, if you can judge by how people look, which you really can't, but they seemed to be many different races. There were certainly a lot of people there who were Hispanic, and because you can tell from the accent, we have lots of people of Asian origin here. We have there are Sikhs who you can tell by their turban, which is different from. They're not Muslims. It's a different religion. So they're that's a very large population here, and so they were there. They have a beard too usually. So it was great. And then lots of young people. That was the fun part. The young people, they let them in at the end, and they stood through most of it, and they were so excited. It was just great.
It was great.
It was like a popcorn, expected candy, cotton candy and popcorn, and it was good old-fashioned American fun. It really was.
That's so great. Well, I saw him in Dallas at one of those first mega rallies, September of 15, and it felt like a big cocktail party without the cocktails. I mean, everyone was wanting to mix and mingle and talk to each other, and we were all talking about Trump. Everybody wanted to talk about Trump. What a phenomenon it was. I mean, this was before
he was even nominated, so
yes.
This was back before he'd actually gotten the Republican nomination. So people were a little bit, people were a little shyer.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
It's true. Okay, so Washington State is one of 3, I believe, that have mail-in ballots only. Right?
Really? Yeah, could be. Yeah, I've heard them complain about that at the Republican meetings. They don't think that's such a great idea.
What do you
Apparently
think?
what happens... I think they may have a point. I know somebody was saying that something you probably shouldn't say, but at some of these like nursing homes and things like that, they give them a bunch of ballots, and then the people who run the home just say the people fill out the ballots, but a lot of those people really don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
The people in the nursing homes and all. Mm-hmm. But perhaps that happens everywhere. I don't know. It doesn't... I don't know. I don't know enough about the subject really to.
Yeah, but you filled out a ballot, right, and mailed it in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. And Washington State, I don't remember how it went down. It wasn't very close, was it?
Probably not, but it is about half and half this state, because the minute you go over the mountains, it's pretty Republican. It's pretty red. Although down in the city areas there, I think this is a very, it's a strange state in a way. It's very connected to the Pacific and to trade and that kind of thing. And I heard they took a pretty hard hit from when the Chinese trade kind of fell off there for a while, not because of Trump, but before that. So it's a very, and I mean, Seattle, they have a statue of Lenin. Doesn't that get you? They've got a big old statue of Lenin. I don't know. I don't know the history of that. So anyway, they're very, very union-oriented, very liberal out here. But as I say, I think that it's not, we aren't as far apart as everybody thinks. I mean, I belong to a union. I think that the unions are great. Unions do a lot for people. It's just that, things got out. I mean, the private unions, the government unions, it's different. I don't see these people as the enemy. People have been trying to do good. It's just I think we've been lied to. That's the other thing. That was what really got me about the Trump rally, was when he said the media are liars. And I was really shocked. I mean, and you wouldn't think that, knowing what I know and having been in the media, that I would be shocked. But I was. I thought, liars, that's really saying a lot. However, as you watch that campaign play out, you realize that these people weren't reporting the news. They were trying to get rid of him. That was their job, to say anything they could to try to keep him out. They were antagonists. They were not. They called themselves the news, but that was a lie, in fact.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happened. I think a lot of people who are liberal don't realize. Conservatives realize it more, and I'm a conservative. You'd think I would have realized it more too. We realize it a little more because we've been the ones lied about. But the liberals are still believing some of those lies because it was flattering to them, and they were all, putting their point of view. So I think they haven't quite realized that they also have been lied to. That I feel a little bad for them. They're exposing themselves. They look like fools. I mean, so many of these actors, it's really quite sad. They say all this stuff and you think, just don't say it. Yeah. Please, you just are making yourself look so bad.
They are. Well, how do you personally get most of your news? Twitter and Drudge and Breitbart. And, and YouTube, Yeah. And this is what I watch. I have my people that I watch on, I don't watch, I'm completely unplugged from regular television. I've been for years, and I don't miss it at all. I mean, they're always just trying to work you up, and it's not real news. No. You and Jack Sobek and Cernovic and you guys are the news. You're what's really happening. Well, you're what's really happening too, which is why I'm talking to you. I want to talk to people. I want to hear their point of view. That's real. You're living in Washington State. You told me your experience from a Trump rally. That's real. From a real person who was really there. And I can't wait to talk to more people and just understand their story and their point of view, because that's important. That's very important to helping, because I think the media's job, what they're trying to do is they're trying to create narratives. They're not trying to report.
Yes.
They're not trying to report the news. They're just trying to create a narrative. And it's our stories, one by one, that's going to undo that narrative.
You're creating an alternate narrative.
Yes. Well, you are too. You're helping me do it right now.
Well, thank you. I'm trying all I can. I'm giving it my best shot here, Cari.
Well, I can't.
I think what you're doing is wonderful. I mean, you are the hope of the future. People like me who've been dealing with this for 30 years since Barry Goldwater. This is a long time. Yeah. My son doesn't believe it. When Trump, he told me that, well, like so many people, he's 30 years old. His generation, as that Nick Mulvaney said, has never seen a prosperous economy. And it's, he doesn't believe anything good can happen. And when Trump was elected, he was like, he just couldn't believe it. He said, it was like a shock. He'd say, well, Mom, he said to me before, he said, you're going to be disappointed, but, that's just the way it is. And I said, no, I think he's going to win, Preston.
And he did.
He killed it.
He killed it. I still sometimes have to pinch myself when somebody says President Trump, because this time last year, it was not a given at all.
No.
So
no, you can say all you want, and some people have about it being a change election, but I've been waiting for a change election for 40 years. It finally changed.
It did. It finally did. So good vibes for President Trump. Good.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Harry's narrative.
Yeah, that's right. And do you notice any from, I know that you're probably got a lot of people around you that didn't vote for Trump. Do you think that they're starting to warm up to him now that he's president, and some of the things that the media said he was going to do and all the fear mongering they were trying to...
I haven't noticed that, but what I have noticed, Cari, is that people are in good spirits. Where people seemed a little bit glum before. Like when I go to the supermarket, people are happy. It's like there's a jolliness there. It's like somebody told them, the boat is sinking, you're all going to die. And they didn't. They found out that everything went on fine. And it's like they can't believe it. It's sort of, I don't think people can quite believe it yet.
Isn't that crazy? That's so fun.
It is.
But you know what? Trump telegraphed that. Even back at that rally in Dallas, he said, "You're going to be proud of your country again. You're going to be proud of your president again." I just remember him saying, I thought, who talks like that? Who tells me how I'm going to feel in the future? But he was right. I think he was planting that. He was telling us what to look for, because people tend to find what they're looking for, and so
expectations.
Yes, he was planting seeds for our expectations. If I become president, we're going to start saying Merry Christmas again. And by golly, did you hear it this year?
Yes. It's like, oh.
I did too. So what that tells me is that it's not that hard. When you said we're closer than you think.
Yes.
I think you're absolutely right.
Yes, it's very cautious. It's very funny. This is an incredibly liberal town I live in because it's a college town, and it's in Washington State. But it was very cautious. I mean, they call it the town of subdued excitement. It's very subdued here, too subdued for my taste. But there was like almost a kind of I can remember somebody at the pet store saying that to me, just very cautiously, "Merry Christmas," and it's like. Wow, it's not going to kill you to say it, Yeah.
Isn't that something?
It's all right. I'm not going to bite your head.
I know. And I purposely went out to do errands right before Christmas this last year, and I purposely said I'm not going to say it first, just to see how many people said it to me. And I was shocked. Almost everybody, every store clerk, almost everybody, they said it first, and I said it back, and I thought, it's happening.
Yeah,
it
really
is.
It
felt like a different country. It felt all of a sudden I was living in a
different country. It really does.
It does. So
now, you're in what part? You're in Dallas?
I'm in Dallas. Mm-hmm.
Is that a very liberal town or more conservative?
It is a blue dot and a red sea.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was going to say.
Our county and our city is very liberal. But I'm swimming in a sea of red in Texas, born and raised here. So,
really, wow,
yeah. So, anyway, it's a blessing to be here, and I just am so pleased to hear you say that you're seeing some of the same things in Washington State that I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think, well, it's just because it's this Texas is a red state, but to hear that Blue Washington, mostly Blue Washington, is starting to kind of smile again.
Thaw out.
How about that? How about that? That is Go ahead.
It is.
That's amazing. So anyway, I'm so happy to hear from your perspective on all this, and
thank you, Cari.
And so pleased to hear your point of view. And maybe another time we can put you on a women's roundtable and talk more about.
Oh, I'd love to do that, and I have better earphones.
Okay, perfect.
A little bit longer, so I'm not like a dog on a loop. It's all right. Yeah. I hope it hasn't. I've had all these instructions to myself: stand up straight, do this. And I'm.
No, you're fantastic. Well, do you have any last parting words? Anything you want to say for today?
Well, I'm just so happy to be part of this. It's so wonderful of you to have me on. I think what you're doing is terrific. I personally, from my experience in life, theater and people's stories are the most important thing to me. And so I'm so glad to meet you who are really, really doing it and doing such a great job. And you know such interesting people and you're doing such a great job. You're so focused. You know what you're looking for, what you're doing, and to me, it's the most important thing in the world. Far more important than politics. It's politics with a velvet glove.
Oh, that's so nice. You know what Donald Trump said? Business is people, and I love people. Well, politics is people too.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? We forget that sometimes,
Yeah.
when everybody's going around burning things and stuff.
Yeah.
It really is people.
It's people too. And he's got...
So thank you, Cari. Thank you. It was a real honor, more than I could ever say, to be on your show.
No, the honor's mine.
And to meet the great Cari Kelemen.
The honor is all mine. Well, we'll do this again soon sometime.
I hope so, Cari. Good luck with everything. Wishing you the best.
Thank you so much.